and Facebook. This is a test. Where do we find it? This is a test of the Buddha Broadcasting Network. Aha. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a test. Why is there no sound? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, Linda Z. Long time no see. I hope you can hear. This is frustrating. I have this plugged in. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well. YouTube. So this says it's live. Where's the sound? I'm not hearing sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. Telestream audio capture. What's happening with Facebook? Hello. Is there any sound going out to YouTube or Facebook? Well. This is test of the Buddha Broadcasting Network. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's frozen. Oh well. I hope it's working. I have simplified the sound. I wonder what I would get over here. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a test. Okay. Well. It's very frustrating. It is time to go to the broadcast. You admit all. Good morning, Tim. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can't hear you. One moment, please. I must.
How did you know I said that then? You fooling me.
Hello, Tim.
Hello, Robert.
No, I still can't hear you. Hello, Jimbo. There you are. I'm having. It's just life.
Please stand by. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
It'll get sorted out little by little.
Get rid of security. Sound. Let's put this through Skype 2i2. Hello.
Hello.
There it is. Okay. I'm gonna skip that. Oh dear, pardon me. Well, good morning, dear Dharma friends. We made it through another night, another whole day. There were so many opportunities to not make it, and then, despite all odds, here we are. My apologies to those of you on Facebook and YouTube. I was unable to talk to tech support yesterday, and there is an echo, and I don't know why. I think I'll be able to get a hold of them today. They're very busy. Wirecast tech support. I'm Robert Beatty. I'm coming to you from Portland, Oregon. Beautiful Portland, Oregon, with a climate that's more like San Jose used to be. Great for the garden. My garden is going nuts. So this is a broadcast of the Portland Insight Meditation Community. And we've been meeting like this since the beginning of COVID. Remember that? Remember back at the beginning of COVID? I remember that day when we had to make the decision whether or not to close the center. And there really wasn't a decision. Everything was closing. So now here we are more than a year later, and things are opening up, at least here. Parts of the world are closing down badly. So we go on. This is a potent poem from Mary Oliver. I'm just going to read it once. The Buddha's last instruction. Wait a second, I want to record this.
Recording in progress.
The Buddha's last instruction. Mary Oliver. Make of yourself a light, said the Buddha before he died. I think of this every morning as the east begins to tear off its many clouds of darkness, to send up the first signal, a white fan, streaked with pink and violet, even green. An old man. He lay down between two sala trees, and he might have said anything, knowing it was his final hour. The light burns upward. It thickens and settles over the fields. Around him the villagers gathered and stretched forward to listen, even before the sun itself hangs disattached in the blue air. I am touched everywhere by its ocean of yellow waves. No doubt he thought of everything that had happened in his long and difficult life. And then I feel the sun itself as it blazes over the hills like a million flowers on fire. Clearly I'm not needed. Yet I feel myself turning into something of inexplicable value. Slowly, beneath the branches, he raised his head. He looked into the faces of that frightened crowd. Make of yourself a light, said the Buddha. Make of yourself a light. Elsewhere, it's reported that he said, take the Dharma as your refuge. Take no other refuge. Hmm. Whatever shall we do with ourselves today? What can we possibly do that we could take with us into every activity? We could be mindful. And what does it mean to be mindful? It means to know what is happening inside us and around us in successive moments of consciousness. It is to be awake and aware, to be seeing through the Dharma lens, to be carrying out the great experiment. Is this permanent? Is this satisfying? Is there a self having this experience? And as support on our journey, let's reflect for a moment on the refuges and these refuges are different from the refuges of success and power and wealth, relationship, children, vacations, career, autonomy. I take refuge in the Buddha, in being awake. I take refuge in the Dharma, in the way things actually are. And I take refuge in the Sangha. We have each other this morning, again. And we have refuge in a great lineage. We could think of it as it's like a long relay race with about 150 runners. Since the time the Buddha handed off the baton, here, try this, experience this, pass it on to the next generation. 2,600 years. And so we sit and breathe. We bring awareness into the body as it breathes itself quite naturally. Noticing the life in what we think of as the hands. The fingers, the baby finger of the left hand, the index finger of the right hand. There is a world of difference between being thoughts, being emotions, being the five hindrances, and being aware of them, knowing them. There is a radical shift in the locus of identity. To know thoughts as thoughts, mood as mood, planning as planning, remembering as remembering. The various stories of the self as objects, as phenomena, is to take up residence in freedom. Each breath has its beginning. How close, how intimate, how lovingly and compassionately can you embrace this incarnation, this breathing in right now? Mm-hmm. This teaching of awakening points out the awesome responsibility that we each carry. There is no magical person who can save us. There's just the mystery of awakening that is here with us in every second. Let go of the fantasy that someday the conditions will be right. You'll have been good enough. And then there will be some magical event in which suddenly you will be awake. That moment is right now. This is the only moment. And so we notice with great intimacy, in-breathing and out-breathing. Feel the body of incarnation. The word meat, carne, is in incarnation. It's a meat body. It's a body that lives in time. Feel how it breathes in and breathes out. And there's a certain kindness, actually a profound kindness, which is inherent in being awake in this moment. We can say it as an aspiration. I aspire. It's my intention to love and accept myself exactly as I am, as I appear in this moment. Noticing those moments of awakening from the trance. Lost in wanting something. Wanting. Or lost in wanting not wanting. Pushing away. Lost and identified in restlessness, agitation, worry, the mind jumping from one object to the next. Lost in sloth and torpor, dullness, sleepiness. Lost in doubt. Why am I doing this? Can I do this? Isn't there something better? Lost in sadness, lost in fear. And then there's knowing it. Mindfulness. Mindfulness which shines on life experience as the sun shines on the earth. It doesn't pick and choose. It just notices everything. There will, of course, be discomfort. How could there not be? It's a human body, after all. So when you notice discomfort, maybe it's a particular joint. Maybe there's hurting in the knuckle joint of the index finger of the left hand. Or maybe it's that hip. Or maybe it's a headache. Maybe it's a feeling of nausea. Maybe that old surgery place is acting up. Or the new hip, or the hip that needs replacing. These are not mistakes. These are not anomalies. This is the human condition. Some have fantasies that we'll go into space and everything will be fine. We always take this body with us. And we are invited, when discomfort and pain arise and there's suffering, we're invited to turn toward it with great compassion. Maybe it's emotional pain. Maybe it's the pain of a lost relationship, or the death of a pet, or the anguish of recognizing the horrors of racism and systematic oppression. If we dare to open to reality, we really must also open with compassion. I aspire, I intend, whenever I'm hurting, no matter how, it is my intention to hold myself in sweet, gentle compassion. And what does that mean? In the Buddhist teachings, when love meets suffering, it naturally converts this to compassion. And so there is breathing in and breathing out. we have the opportunity to sit together in a relatively simple experience. Soon, we will be in the dance of our lives. We'll be driving the car or patting the dog or feeding the pets or dealing with a difficult child or having our heart blown open by some beautiful interaction. We'll feel energetic and we'll feel tired. Maybe we'll dip into the news and have some reactions to that. Perhaps we have work to do, responsibilities to fulfill. What if we did them mindfully? What if the call from within stayed on all day, until the moment of the head hitting the pillow? Beyond that, actually. Watching how consciousness dims and winks out. So let us make an intention to stay awake all day. To bring love into every interaction. To be compassionate with ourselves and others. May all beings everywhere share in the merits of our practice. May we recognize that in fact we are all beings. I'm tired this morning. Why would I be tired? Jennifer went to bed at a sensible time, like 9:30, and I was ready for bed too. And then for some ridiculous reason, I was tired. I just turned on Amazon Prime to see what might be interesting. And then I watched a Tom Clancy movie. I think it's called No Remorse or something like that. It was an absolutely predictable, tough guy, assassins, betrayal from the top of the government. I mean, it's the same story. I've seen it. It was almost 2 hours long. What a weird thing to do. Strange. Compulsion and addiction are really interesting, aren't they? No remorse. No remorse. That guy was really psychopathic guy. Quite impressive. So I have a couple of announcements. If you would look in the chat, you will see two things. One is the link to make financial contributions to PIMC. We're on the brink of a fundraising campaign. I won't give you all the details now. The building project has an overrun so far of about $60,000 or $70,000, which is not unheard of in projects like this. And I'll tell you more details. We're going to get the letter out in the next day or so. But in general, I've had something shifted in the last couple of weeks, actually, as I was writing that letter. And I'm feeling about 99.99% good about asking for money. Because we're building something, not just the building. In fact, the building is tertiary. We're building something of extraordinary value here. We're continuing to create a community that's based in love. Just recently, with the letter from Tempest and the year before that of beginning to take the lid off our need for greater diversity, inclusion, and equity at PIMC. When something like that comes along in this organization, this community, we always open to it. Maybe hard at first, but this saga of getting the wheelchair ramps in. It was my idea when we bought the building we would do it, and then finally we got it. We got organized enough, and then we raised the money to do it. And then the city says, no, you can't do it you can't do a $50,000 ramp thing. You need to do $1,300,000 repairs on this building so it doesn't fall down in the next earthquake. And speaking of that, what happened in Florida can happen anywhere. If the really big one hits PIMC, we really want that building to be secure. So you will find in the chat a link. If you're already a contributor, is there more? Could you find more discretionary income that you could offer to the well-being of all beings? It's not to me. It's not to the board. It's to yourself. It's to ourselves. We're building something of incredible value that transforms lives. And the best thing in terms of supporting the practice is to make a monthly contribution, which then it comes when you forget. I like that line. So anyway, there's that. And then there's another link, which is to Candle's first and third Sundays. Jim, is there anything else we should be mentioning?
Yeah, we might mention the...
Oh, I'm not hearing, of course. Just a minute.
Yeah. We might mention the changing schedule during July and August. Both Doyle and his nonviolent communication group and Gregory and his Wednesday night, they're taking a break. So there's some of the regular sessions are you won't find them until August or later. So, and my Qigong is been postponed 1 week, but I'll be here on the third Saturday of the month and on Monday evening. So I took a break a couple weeks ago, and I'm ready to go back. So
Thanks,
hope
Jim.
you join me.
And the Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. gathering will proceed with monotonous regularity. I love the sound of that. Makes me think about John Sumedo. On the beginning of a retreat I did with that wonderful man, he was talking about the precepts and noble silence, and he's this giant of a man. He's 6'4" or something, and he's got a smile about 8 inches wide, and he's going on talking about the structure of the retreat, and then he paused a long time and said, "Actually, we're not going to be having any fun at all." And then he broke into laughter. Very lovely. So, I think that's all I have to say. Let's see if there's any sharing or questions. And Jim and I, this meeting has to end at 8 because we have a PIMC board meeting at 8. We have a lot of business to do right now with the building and everything.
Good morning, it's Denise.
Hello, Denise.
I'll just say quickly that when you were speaking this morning about mindfulness, shining a light on everything, the human shadow just totally made sense in a way with like so much clarity. I don't know, I had a moment of intuition. So, or insight, I guess, or something. Yeah.
It's interesting the way things suddenly will make sense. It's like, oh, right. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have taught optics to college courses on optics. And so you would think that I would understand the simple concept of a shadow.
Optics mean in physics?
Yeah, I've taught like optical mineralogy. My background is really in geology and so I've taught optical mineralogy, which involves basically using a microscope and the properties of light to describe minerals.
Uh-huh. Well, I think this is a new statement. Second to the Buddha, I have great respect for the human shadow. It's we're so deluded. And it's so convenient that things that are in the shadow can be projected and have someone else carry them, so we don't need to be troubled. What's funny about that? Yikes. Lovely to see you today, David. How's your boat driving going?
It's going great. It's I don't know how much to go on about this. Aside from just the fun of maneuvering a 30-foot barge in a fairly small space, reminds me when I was driving a city bus in Portland. But I'm at the same time doing an hour's worth of stand-up about the history of Richmond, which I, have. It's just, there's so much that happened here. It was the epicenter of so much that happened in this country. I didn't realize it when we moved here. And that's sort of the theme of my talk. And so I do a whole module on slavery, because Richmond was the heart of slavery in the South. And it sort of speaks to my mission of educating is something that I can do in my position. And I have a captive audience, and the facts, the sheer size, the inhumanity, but just to dispense facts. It's not opinion. So I'm enjoying it. I have a chance to educate and to I talk about Richmond being the best of the best and the worst of the worst, and it's sort of a graphic example of the human condition. And I'm sitting here. It's just interesting. Denise was talking about the shadow. My meditation today was I was just watching thoughts come up, and that's an angry thought. And rather than just sort of say, oh, that's an angry thought, I sort of gave room to it, didn't attach to it. I just let it flower and let the anger come up, and breathed into it and took myself down to, early traumas that created my shadow, or that part of my shadow. And it was this whole meditation was really a lot of releasing that stuff, to go into the shadow and say, where does that come from? What's being hidden? What haven't I allowed myself to express over the years? How have I contained in that pressure cooker that I have inside? And it was wonderful. But using meditation to, I think, okay, should I just love and accept this? Oh, look, there it is. What does that mean? There's this thing that wants to come out. Is that me? Well, not really. It's the structure in which I've molded myself in response to decades of life. And it's allowing me to iron myself out from the inside, I guess, get rid of the wrinkles, or at least loosen the wrinkles. And it's fun. We're having fun here, right?
Thank you, David.
Anyway, thank you. And I wish I could be here every day, because it's such a huge thing. And it makes me appreciate those days I can be here.
Thank you. Well, we need to end. Let's go out on Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. May all beings receive all blessings. So please unmute so we can have our delicious cacophony. Bhavatu Sabbe Mangalam Bhavatu Sabbe Mangalam Bhavatu Sabbe Mangalam Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. See you later, beautiful humans.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you.